Welcome back. I'm Jocelyn Bamford. My guests today are Dr. Jack Mintz and Catherine Swift, and we're discussing the tumultuous political times and the impact on the Canadian economy. Not to be outdone by the political drama in the United States, Canada has been rocked by the resignation of Chrystia Freeland as the finance minister on the very day of the economic statement. Not only did she resign, she posted a scathing letter to the prime minister on the X social network. Catherine, can you unpack this situation for us, please?
In 2 minutes or less, right?
Exactly.
Um, well, clearly we don't need this chaos right now. This federal government, this Trudeau Liberal government, has been chaotic for years, and at a time when our economy is in trouble, a lot of Canadians are hurting badly. We have horrible international tensions, even outside of our Canada-U.S. relationship, which is also on the rocks right now in many ways. This is the worst possible time we could see this kind of infighting on the Liberals' part. And I think it's disgraceful. We're seeing in the last segment, we were talking about Danielle Smith, who's actually showing leadership nationally on this issue, whereas we got a federal government in such disarray, they're incapable of doing anything. And I did find the ultimate, a lot of people are saying that, Chrystia Freeland is standing up to Trudeau and not spending money. Are you kidding? Where have you been for the last, number of years? She has been a horrible finance minister. She's spent hundreds of billions of dollars collectively, much of it in wasteful ways. And the notion that she now cares about $250 checks, it was the wrong policy, no question about it. But obviously, this was a very personal reaction to Trudeau. She was giving him a big middle finger, and creating chaos. But a lot of people are talking too about there being other, I guess this will unfold in the next little while as to what some of the motivations were. But in addition to saying, see you later, Trudeau, she said she was going to run again. Is she setting herself up for a future leadership run in the party? Did she manage to skewer Mark Carney, by this? Because he didn't want to take up the finance role, apparently, or you'd think he'd be there. And they had to name Dominic LeBlanc in there as a stopgap, really. And so, what's the long game here? And I don't think we know that right now. But the fact that she said she's not leaving, like Jody Wilson-Raybould did, she just got out of politics completely, and she said she wants to run again. It'll be very interesting to observe for the next little while. But, shame on all of them to permit their internecine, party egos to be mucking up this country to the extent that it is, because it's a disgrace, just outrageous disgrace.
Couldn't agree with you more. Dr. Mintz, the leader of the official opposition, jumped in and had this to say about the economy. Let's take a look.
Outside of this government, there is no government in the history of Canada that has ever run a $62 billion deficit. Not even in the 90s when the Wall Street Journal said that we were a third world basket case. Even during the massive global economic crisis did the deficit come anywhere close to that. And here we are, with the global economy growing, with the American economy booming in stable times. This deficit is 100% at the feet of this irresponsible Prime Minister and his personal economic advisor, Carbon Tax Carney.
That's right. Some scathing comments. Dr. Mintz, your reaction.
Well, actually, there's an article that just came out in the this morning in the Financial Post that I have written on the economic statement, on the Scarless Scandal around the $62 billion deficit. What people haven't pointed out, which I do in this article, is that deficit, or the amount of money that was actually announced, that the extra $20 billion added onto the deficit, was not to this year's deficit of for the fiscal year 24-25, but it was put into last year's fiscal year. And we have to remember, if you look at the budget, it says, that there were additional expenditures since budget 2024, but budget 24 came out 16 days after the end of last year's fiscal year. And so it was really playing around with the numbers. I think it was disgraceful what happened.
Sheer insanity. Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there. We've run out of time. Thank you both for joining me today. The Canadian economy is in for some turbulent times ahead. Canada needs cool heads and a good strategy to come out unscathed. I'm Jocelyn Bamford. Thank you for watching Canadian Innovators. If you're an innovator, tell us your story. Write to us at ideas@thenewsforum.ca, and we'll see you next time.